Top five, top five, top five.
It is time to go through our top five. I got a little bit of a spring in my step today because, well, if we win, we're in the playoffs for the first time in 10 years.
When you win.
When
you win.
So we'll have a season sweep on the Raiders. We'll split with the Chargers, and we'll split with the Chiefs. We should have swept the Chiefs. Could you imagine we would already have 10 wins if that field goal didn't get blocked?
Oh, that would be nice. Double-digit wins and already in like prime position to have a playoff spot secured, extra win in the division. Oh, that would be awesome.
And I think a lot of people would have them in their top 5 with a win that significant, you know?
It would be huge, yeah.
They're one of the hotter teams right now. I mean, they've won 4 in a row. It would be 5 in a row. Remember, they were 5-5 just a month ago. And I felt good about them then. Rick, I feel good about them now. I got the Broncos at 5.
Woo! I knew it.
At 5.
I knew it.
For 3 weeks in a row. They haven't lost. I do have concerns.
Yep.
That's why they're at 5 and not higher. My concern is the running game. I'm worried about the running game. They don't have a legitimate running threat, but they have a stellar defense. Nick Bonino had a pick 6 in 2 straight games.
Yep.
And there's a mic'd up version of Patrick Surtain before that play was snapped saying, watch, trick play. Literally called it. and that, like, that's just wild, man.
Yeah.
Patrick Surtain is the best corner in the NFL, and people just don't understand, like, how much of a difference he makes. That's why he's got the 3rd best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, and Nick Bonito's now like 4th. So I think it's like 2 and 3 and 3 and 4. Like, to have 2 players in the top 3, that's insane. For that award. The defense is playing just remarkable. Nick's not his best game last week, but still 3 touchdown passes in that type of a game. I mean, yeah, there was 2 plays where, I mean, one of the interception, Cortland ran his route too shallow. And then there was one that was just a bad throw. But, like, you know, overall, Denver has proven that they can actually have a down game. They were on a bye week, obviously, that affected them in a bad way. But I think it almost feels like they want to play tonight to, like, get a bad taste out of their mouth, and they won 31-13. I mean, that says something about where you're at as a team. I think the Broncos are I'm not going to say they're the best team in the AFC, but right now they are playing a specific way of football with the defense scoring touchdowns and getting takeaways that is going to make them hard to beat in January.
Yeah, no, 100%. I wouldn't say they're the scariest team in the AFC. What I would say is if you're a team right now going up against them, like the Chargers tonight, it's not something that you look forward to. I think so. The Broncos are not a team right now with how well they're being coached and how well they are, putting that coaching into their play onto the field week in, week out. It's not a team you want to go up against. And I agree with the concerns about the running game. That was one of the things that I think the Broncos are weak in is that running game. You got 3 guys, but who is really your number one? And things are, some guys effective one day, maybe not all 3, maybe all 3 are. So that, I think, I agree, is your big is the weakness in the Broncos right now. And a quick shout out to Bill in the chat. Bill, what is going on? So Kyle's got Broncos at number 5. At number 5 for myself, they took a bit of a dip. But I'm going Vikings at number 5. They were my number 4 last week. They're number 5 this week. They had a really good win against the Bears. It's the Bears. Everybody should win against the Bears this season. But they're still in the top 5. I like what's going on there. They keep winning. They keep going over the expectations, exceeding expectations is what I should say, exceeding expectations, and they do it week in, week out with their guys. If it's not Justin Jefferson one day, it's Addison. If it's not Addison, it's Hawkinson, like we saw on Monday Night Football just this past week. Hawkinson was open every play. He was getting first downs. He was everywhere, and Kevin O'Connell is such a good coach. And we got to remember, the NFC North is one of the toughest divisions. The Vikings are 3-1 in that division, so they are playing at a high level against high level opponents, and that's why I got the Vikings at number 5.
Yeah, NFC North is ridiculous this year.
Yeah.
At number 4, I got the Packers.
Boo.
Big win against Seattle.
Yeah.
One of the things that they are is a very balanced team. They've been able to avoid the injury bug this year when it comes to, I mean, Jordan Love was a little banged up, but nothing that was season ending. I like their ability to throw the ball. It's true what he said in the beginning of the year, in that it was going to be a different guy, every single season or every single game. The defense is flying around, and I really like the linebacker that they drafted. I'm blanking on his name right now. Their second-round draft pick. I think it's something Cooper, Elijah Cooper. Just playing really good ball all around. But Josh Jacobs getting 2 to 3 rushing touchdowns a game is becoming like a normal thing. And
Cooper.
Overall, I think that the Packers, with this balanced approach in Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, I saw him make 3 to 4 throws in that Seahawks game that I was like, that is just an elite level throw. He makes throws that are, if you're not watching the games, he's not blowing you away in the stats. So you could easily kind of just put him into this like, he's pretty good category. But when you actually watch the game, there's a handful of throws in these games that you're just like, wow. Yeah. And I'm thinking that the Packers are going to be a really tough team in the NFC come playoff time. They're a 10-win team, and they're the third place team in their division. But if the Lions and Vikings, or Packers and Vikings, played in the playoffs, the reason I got the Packers here is because I would go with the Packers to win that game. And that's why I can't justify the better record in this situation.
Fair. What I will say, Vikings 3-1 in the North, Packers 1-3 in the North. But the Seahawks win, good win. I had talked about during our predictions. I was like, they struggle against teams with winning records. The Seahawks, obviously, they steamrolled them. Talk about ending your week a bad way for me when I was rooting for the Seahawks and then starting it with the Bears on Monday Night Football. Anyway, my number 4, they took a dip, and I will explain why. At number 4, I've got the Lions. Why do I have them at number 4?
Why?
Over the last 2 or so seasons, right, we have talked about how awesome Dan Campbell is. But his one flaw, his one kryptonite, and it's something that he actually talked about in his post-game presser, was the decisions that he makes during certain situations, right? Now, he went for an onside kick early in the fourth quarter of that game against the God, who was it?
Bills.
The Bills. Yes, thank you. Great game, by the way. Awesome game. One of the more fantastic games on that Sunday slate. But he even talked about it. He's like, I wish I could have that one back. And it seems like throughout the last 3 seasons of Dan Campbell, there's always multiple games, whether they're big games like they were the Bills in the NFC Championship last year, or not so meaningful games, where he makes decisions himself that really, really turn out to be the worst decision for the Lions in that moment in time. Now, on top of that, the injuries, it sucks. I think I tweeted, I was like, the Lions are having the worst, best season of all time because of the injuries that continue to pile up. Anzalone, Hutchinson, now Montgomery. Like, these are not things that normal teams usually can get back from. And the Lions, to their credit, continue to move forward. But those two things combined with the loss to the Bills, which, a lot of people were saying possible Super Bowl preview, is why they went down from number 1 to number 4. They're staying in my top 5. They are a dangerous team. Like, don't get me wrong. By no means am I saying that they're a bad team. They are still a very, very good, dangerous team. But those couple things combined drop them down for me, especially with the decisions that Dan Campbell made and has made throughout his coaching career thus far with the Lions.
Yeah, I got the Lions at 3. The loss to David Montgomery is a big one, and
It's huge.
It's all about being healthy at the right time, and Lions aren't.
Yeah. For me at number 3, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs. They were able to get the win this week. They've got 1 loss on the year, right? So for me, it's just one of those things where the Chiefs are inevitable. They have black magic. They do their voodoo. They get these wins. I'm going with the Chiefs at number 3.
Yeah, and Mahomes is going to play this week. There was a couple injuries. Geno Smith, Mahomes, both are expected to play this week. So maybe good news for the franchise. Obviously, Kansas City still thinking, hey, the number 1 seed, because if they were going to rest Mahomes for the 2 weeks and then just play him week 18, because all they would have to do, even if they lost the next 2, is win week 18 and they would have it. But week 18, they play the Broncos, and that tells you that they don't feel like that's an easy win. So they're like, we better secure a win with these other 2 opponents.
Right.
That's flattering if you're a Broncos fan.
True.
At number 2, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Man, I feel like earlier in the season, I really jumped the gun on this one. And once in a while, you look like an idiot like I did with the Jets. And sometimes you look like a genius. It was inevitable. The draft, they nailed their coordinators, man. They got it right. And that's just what Sirianni is. I mean, he's a head coach that is reliant on his coordinators. And when he has the coordinators right, his teams do really well. They're ridiculously talented. Jalen Hurts really just put the Steelers in a different category on Sunday. They couldn't generate a pass rush. Jalen Hurts was calm and comfortable the whole game. The receivers were playing well. They're running the game. They're running the ball. I mean, Saquon Barkley's doing incredible things in the defense. I mean, it's really not a hot take right now to say that the Eagles seem like the favorite to represent the NFC right now.
Yeah, and I got them at number 2 as well. All the things you said. By the way, Lil Lee in the chat. Lil Lee, what's up? But the Eagles, 100%. Everything you just said, true. They have played at a high level. And again, this is with discourse within their own teammates, with Sirianni earlier in the season. A lot of us were saying oh, shit, here we go. It's not the same Eagles, but they kept winning. And you mentioned Saquon. That, I think, has been the savior of this team, if we're being honest. His presence alone is really elevating the play from a lot of these guys. So I think him, the draft that you had mentioned, just a lot of the younger guys that have come in to really provide value to this team is huge, and you've seen it throughout the season. Especially their rookie guys, their cornerbacks, all these guys. They're just providing value to this team early and often. And I got them at number 2 as well.
At number 1, I got the Bills.
Yup.
Bills, it's not easy because, the Bills, they lost, 31-10 to the Ravens earlier this year.
Yes, I believe
and they have given up 100 points in the last 2 weeks. That's not good. It's not. But when you have a quarterback that's playing at the level Josh Allen is playing right now, the quarterback's the most important position in all of sports. And right now, Josh Allen is looking like somebody that nobody can stop. And if you're going to score 40, he's going to score 50 type of a deal.
Yep.
And I don't expect the Bills to be giving up that amount of points. It's just their last 2 games happen to be both indoors in arenas with offensive coaches that are Ben Johnson, but the Lions offense is really good. They average the second most points per game. So, and then the Rams are just one of those teams that when the lights are shining bright, they pull those type of games out. So I'm not reading too much into those as far as like negatively affecting the Bills, but I'm looking at the positives here, and the fact that they got this running game, Josh Allen, and it just seems like right now the AFC, nobody's going to want to play the Bills. Nobody. I just don't know how you can make a case that like the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills this year. I just don't see it. And I know the Chiefs will still ultimately be the favorite when or if that game happens. And that's just the way it's going to go. And Buffalo's going to have to earn it. But let's not pretend Buffalo's like a playoff team that Josh Allen chokes in the playoffs. Like, he's not Lamar Jackson. This guy goes out there and has games with Mahomes where they're historical. I mean, back and forth, and they create new overtime rules because they want more. Josh Allen has played great postseason football. They just haven't been able to put it all together, and it feels like this year it's all together.
Yeah, I've got the Bills at number 1 as well. Again, you talked about Josh Allen, how they have how I don't know why, but does this year's Bills feel a little bit different to you? Like, if they beat Kansas City in the regular season, and they've done so in the past, but you said it yourself, like the Chiefs may be favorited in the playoffs, but the Bills just are playing different. And again, I've been mentioning this throughout the entire season. This is with so many losses over the offseason. And a lot of these guys, a lot of people were talking about how they meant so much to the team. Obviously, Stephon Diggs had his issues with how many times his number was called or not called during a lot of postseason games, regular season games, whatever. But it seemed like a lot of losses happened over the offseason that were very, very important to this team. And this team said, you know what, we're better than that. We know how we can play and at what level we can play. And they're playing like a number 1 team right now. And they are a number 1 team. I mean, when you beat the Lions the way you do, yes, it was a high-scoring affair. It's crazy, though, because they were like, we got to remember, Jared Goff won a game with 5 interceptions, but lost the game where he threw 5 touchdowns, and it was against this Bills team. So the Bills can overcome something like that against a very, very dominant team like the Lions, come out on top, while, Josh Allen is playing like Superman. He's got more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson. Not as many rushing yards, obviously, but he's only got 5 interceptions to his name this season, and he went weeks without an interception. He's playing like an MVP, and I think he's going to win MVP, the way that he has kind of carried this Buffalo Bills team. And like I said, for me, at number 1, I've also got the Bills. And here we go. At the bottom on the ticker is our top 5 for Kyle and I. Kyle, you got anything else to add before we head straight into the Broncos and Chargers?
That's all I got. But man, if the Broncos win tonight, I think I might not be the only person. And this is Bo's last chance, with a national audience watching him
that's
play.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So this is, he plays a big game here tonight, and I feel like that's going to put him in a different category. There's a lot on the line here.
So we're going to get right into it, but that was...
Top 5, no debating. Top 5.